You feel it even in a crowded room. That quiet ache, that sense that no one really sees you. You might chalk it up to a bad day, or too much screen time, or just being in your head. But the real answer is far stranger. And it starts not with your phone, not with social media, not with modern life at all. It starts with a threat that hasn't existed for hundreds of thousands of years. Your brain thinks you are about to die. Not metaphorically, biologically. At the neural level, the experience of social isolation triggers the same ancient alarm system that fires when a predator is nearby. The same system, the same chemical cascade, the same spike of cortisol flooding your bloodstream. Your body cannot tell the difference between being alone on a Friday night and being separated from your tribe on an open savanna where something with teeth is watching you from the dark. That is what loneliness actually is. Not an emotion, a survival signal. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent more than 2 decades studying loneliness at the University of Chicago. What he found shook the field. Loneliness does not just feel bad, it physically restructures the brain. It rewires how your prefrontal cortex processes social information. It makes you hypervigilant, scanning every room, every face, every tone of voice for signs of rejection. Not because you are anxious or broken or difficult, because your nervous system is doing exactly what it evolved to do. For almost all of human history, being alone meant being dead. Think about what your ancestors faced. Not your great-grandparents, not medieval peasants. Go back 200,000 years. You are on the African savanna. You have no claws, no venom, no armor. You are slow compared to the things that eat you. Your only survival advantage, your single edge over everything else out there, is other people. The group is your immune system. The group is your food supply. The group is your early warning system. The group is the only reason you survived long enough to pass down the genes that built your brain. So your brain evolved a failsafe. If you drift too far from the group, if the social bonds begin to fray, your nervous system fires a signal so uncomfortable, so persistent, so physically painful that you cannot ignore it. That signal is loneliness. It is not weakness. It is the same mechanism as hunger. Hunger tells you to find food before you starve. Loneliness tells you to find connection before something kills you. The problem is that signal is still running. In you, right now. In a world that looks nothing like the one it was built for. Researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad at Brigham Young University ran a meta-analysis of 148 studies covering more than 300,000 people. Her conclusion was stark. Lacking social connection carries a mortality risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, comparable to obesity, comparable to alcoholism. Loneliness is not a mood. It is a slow biological emergency that most people don't even recognize because the world keeps telling them they should be fine. You have a phone in your hand with access to every person you've ever known. You live in a city of millions. You are surrounded technically by humans at almost all times. And yet, the World Health Organization declared loneliness a global public health crisis. Studies show that rates of reported loneliness have doubled in the last 50 years in the developed world. More connection tools than any civilization in history has ever had. More loneliness than almost any civilization in recorded history has ever documented. That is not a coincidence. That is a mismatch. Your brain did not evolve for this. It evolved for a band of roughly 50 to 150 people who you saw every day, whose faces you knew intimately, whose voices you recognized from birth, whose survival was tied to yours. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford has spent decades mapping the limits of human social cognition. His research suggests your brain can maintain meaningful relationships with about 150 people maximum, and truly close, trust-based bonds with only about 5. That is the inner circle your nervous system was built around. Now look at modern life. You may have 800 followers, 400 friends, a contact list stretching into the hundreds. But Dunbar's research is unrelenting on this point. Those numbers don't register as connection to your ancient brain. What registers is depth, proximity, physical presence, the sound of a voice, the weight of a hand on a shoulder, the unspoken knowledge that someone will show up. Without that, the alarm keeps firing. And here is the part that makes it worse. Cacioppo's research revealed something cruel about what chronic loneliness does to the brain over time. It makes you worse at connecting. The hypervigilance that loneliness triggers, that constant scanning for rejection, begins to distort how you read other people. You start interpreting neutral expressions as hostile, ambiguous words as criticism, casual silences as indifference. Your brain, trying to protect you from further social pain, quietly makes the very connection you need feel more dangerous. It is a trap with no visible walls. You feel isolated, so you pull back slightly. You pull back, so you feel more isolated. The signal gets louder. The world starts to look less friendly. And the whole time, your brain genuinely believes it is keeping you safe. Psychologist John Bowlby spent his career studying what he called attachment theory, the deep biological drive humans have for close bonding, established in infancy and running underneath every relationship you form for the rest of your life. What Bowlby understood, and what decades of research since has confirmed, is that the need for connection is not a preference or a personality trait. It is a need in the same category as food and water. Thwart it, and the system begins to degrade. Not slowly, fast. Children raised in environments with minimal human contact, fed, kept warm, medically cared for, but not held, spoken to, seen, show measurable deficits in brain development within months. The brain literally fails to wire certain pathways without social input. Your neural architecture is not finished at birth. It is completed by other people. That completion never fully stops. Your brain is still being shaped by the quality of your social bonds right now. Every conversation that goes deep, every moment of genuine eye contact, every time someone says something that only makes sense because they actually know you. Those are not just pleasant experiences, they are maintenance. They are the biological upkeep of a system that was never designed to run alone. So what do you do with this? You start by naming it correctly. The next time that quiet ache shows up, in the elevator, at the party, scrolling at midnight, you do not call it depression or personality or introversion. You call it what it is. A very old alarm. One that has kept your lineage alive across ice ages and migrations and every catastrophe your ancestors survived. It is not broken. It is just displaced. Then you do the uncomfortable thing, not the easy thing. Not more content, more connection requests, more digital contact. The uncomfortable thing, which is the thing your nervous system is actually asking for. A real conversation where you say something true. A coffee that lasts longer than you planned. Sitting with someone in silence that doesn't feel like absence. The kind of presence that your 50-person ancestral tribe delivered automatically every single day without anyone having to schedule it. Modern loneliness is not a character flaw. It is the price of a civilization that optimized for almost everything except the one thing your brain needs most to function. Efficiency, productivity, scale, none of which is legible to the part of you that still lives on a savanna, scanning the firelight for familiar faces. You feel it even in a crowded room. That quiet ache. Now you know it is not weakness. It is your oldest intelligence, reminding you that you were never meant to survive this alone.